who has knowledge about these cases, and she will be reading an extract, one of the American cases, which is featured in the book.
Mariam Abu Ali went through her college years at Georgetown University with a big, heavy secret. Her adored older brother, Ahmed, was in a US supermax prison on special administrative measures known as SAMs, sentenced to 30 years imprisonment plus 30 years supervision, then resentenced to life without parole. He was convicted of 9 charges, including conspiracies to murder President George Bush, commit air piracy, provide material support to terrorists, and contributing services to Al-Qaeda. The evidence was a confession taped after his torture in a prison in Saudi Arabia. Mariam was 14 and in high school when her family's tragedy began in 2003 with the arrest of Ahmed, who was then 21, while he was taking final exams in university in Medina, Saudi Arabia. Her parents, highly educated Palestinian Americans, kept her out of the picture through 2 very stressful years of the family putting pressure on the US government to bring him home from the Saudi prison, where they were sure their son was being tortured. Mariam's mother meticulously recorded his occasional phone calls, kept all emails, and prepared a campaign to get him back through a court case. The family relied heavily on Mariam's older sister, then 21, for much of the letter drafting and contacting members of Congress, lawyers, human rights groups, the FBI, and finally bringing a habeas corpus case with other organizations to have him released to the US. Ahmed did come back to the US after 2 years, but to the stupefaction of the family, he was immediately charged with a litany of terrorist offenses, based on what he was alleged to have told an unnamed co-conspirator in Medina about wanting to join Al-Qaeda, and on a confession he had made and videotaped after torture. In court, 2 doctors agreed that he had been tortured, but their testimony was not taken. And when Ahmed offered to lift his shirt to show the judge and the jury the torture marks on his back, he was not allowed to. The prosecution case used Saudi officials who testified via video link that torture was not used in that country. I think we were naive then, as we expected his release, Mariam said, looking back nearly a decade. We didn't know then how the post-9/11 pattern of war on terror court cases against Muslims was going to be. Shaky cases, guilt by association, thought crimes, people pleading guilty, though there is no evidence against them, crazy sentences. She was talking partly about landmark cases against other well-known Palestinian Americans, such as Sami al-Arian, the Florida engineering professor. Sami al-Arian's daughter Layla, an established journalist in Washington, D.C., became a practiced and very articulate speaker on her father's case over years, as was her mother from the start. But talking about Mariam brought tears to her eyes and a catch in her voice. I think about Mariam. Having a brother go through all this must be especially painful. In fact, I think of my own brothers, and I just can't begin to imagine how it would be. It is different with your father. All your life you know he can handle anything. But a brother? How could it be bearable?